Across the cold Alaska airspace on November 17, 1986, a Japan Airlines 747-200 reported a large mothership and two smaller craft. Radar corroborated the sighting, yet authorities concluded the encounter remained unidentifiable. This documentary follows the data, the decision-making, and the lasting questions that shaped how we view unidentified aerial phenomena. Before the sighting, Japan stood as a major global carrier, pushing for efficiency and safety. Trans-Pacific corridors carried heavy traffic through Alaska's airspace, where radar coverage and international cooperation were improving. The era fostered disciplined pilots and meticulous procedures, yet left room for mystery when signals appeared beyond ordinary explanations. As JAL Flight 1628 neared Alaska, air traffic control noted unusual radar echoes and the crew reported visual anomalies. The combination of pilot testimony and corroborated radar returns marked the moment when routine flight operations met something out of the ordinary, triggering formal data collection and cross-border coordination. In the moment of peak observation, crew and controllers described a large, bright object and two smaller lights. The radar displays showed concurrent returns, aligning with the pilot's visual reports. The Alaska sky remained clear, allowing a stark, unambiguous moment where routine flight life met an extraordinary spectacle. The crew maintained composure, adjusted heading within standard procedures, and alerted Anchorage Center. Controllers documented the event, coordinated with JAL, and began collecting radar data. Ground observers and airspace managers prepared for further assessments while ensuring no unsafe maneuvers disrupted other traffic. The incident triggered an official response. FAA radar data were reviewed, Japan Airlines compiled flight records, and investigators considered both aviation safety and unidentified aerial phenomena. Over weeks, authorities documented the sighting and formally categorized it as unidentifiable, shaping policy on how such events are recorded and shared. Japan Airlines operated a Boeing 747-200F on long-haul routes at the time, emblematic of the airline's capacity to move people and freight across vast distances. The sighting occurred while the aircraft traversed Alaska's airspace, where both civilian and military systems monitored traffic with progressively capable radar technology. Radar data from Anchorage and adjacent facilities recorded conspicuous returns coinciding with the pilot's reports. The simultaneity of visual and radar observations added credibility to the encounter, even as officials grappled with interpretation and possible mundane explanations. Transcripts show the crew and controllers exchanging measured questions and confirmations. There was no panic, only disciplined escalation. Verify data, maintain safe separation from traffic, and document the observation, all within established air traffic control protocols. Weather in the region was largely favorable for flight operations that day, reducing the likelihood that meteorological effects could mimic the described phenomena. The absence of severe weather helped keep the focus on the unusual radar and visual reports. The sighting prompted U.S. and Japanese agencies to synchronize data collection and analysis. The FAA pursued a formal review, while JAL provided flight data and transcripts. The case thus moved from a cockpit report to a matter of international airspace safety and documentation. Investigators weighed weather phenomena, misidentified aircraft, and radar artifacts. While none offered a definitive, single cause, the combined weight of pilot testimony and corroborated radar signals kept discussions open and cautious about alternative interpretations. The episode underscored the value of robust radar data sharing and consistent incident reporting. It reinforced the need for clear protocols to document unusual phenomena without compromising flight safety or public confidence. News outlets in Japan and the United States reported the event, contributing to a broader public interest in unidentified aerial phenomena. The coverage reflected the era's blend of scientific curiosity and speculative storytelling about the unknown. Defense communities analyzed the incident for potential security implications, while official DoD commentary remained cautious. The emphasis was on data evaluation and airspace safety, not on proclaiming extraterrestrial activity. In Japan, the event entered public discourse as a notable example of unidentified phenomena in aviation history. Across cultures, it became part of the 1980s UFO narrative, shaping how people remember unusual aerial sightings at the edge of explanation. JAL 1628 sits among prominent late 20th century sightings where pilots and radar data converged. These cases collectively influenced how authorities approach reports that defy simple classification and how the public weighs evidence. Over time, declassified materials and public archives preserved flight records, radar logs, and investigator notes. The absence of a definitive explanation left a substantial, traceable record that researchers could examine decades later. In the 1980s, radar systems offered powerful tracking but were not immune to interpretation challenges. The JAL 1628 episode highlighted how sensor capabilities and human judgment intersected when assessing unusual aerial events. Public reactions varied from belief in extraterrestrial visitation to skepticism about misperception and equipment limits. The incident illustrates how extraordinary signals can provoke both wonder and analytical caution among observers. Researchers and enthusiasts revisited radar logs and narrative testimonies, fueling ongoing debates. While consensus remained elusive, the case endured as a benchmark for evaluating unidentified aerial phenomena in aviation history. The incident shaped books, documentaries, and online discussions, becoming a touchstone within the broader UFO discourse. It demonstrated how real-world events can become enduring narratives that test the credibility of eyewitness reports. Set against late Cold War tensions, the case benefited from heightened scrutiny of airspace and surveillance. Yet it did not reveal new military capabilities, maintaining its place in civilian aviation and UFO inquiry. JAL 1628 contributed to the methodological dialogue in UFO study, encouraging careful correlation of pilot reports with sensor data and reinforcing a cautious, evidence-based approach to unidentified sightings. Japan Airlines emphasized safety and transparency, providing access to records and cooperating with authorities. The airline's posture reflected a broader commitment to rigorous responses to extraordinary events within the industry. The episode underscored the importance of clear reporting protocols and international data sharing in addressing airspace anomalies. It reinforced how regulators and operators adapt procedures when confronted with the unknown. Decades later, the case remains debated in public archives, inviting new interpretations while preserving the core data. The balance between evidence and interpretation continues to shape how this event is remembered. Pilots and controllers described the encounter with professional restraint, focusing on accurate reporting rather than sensationalism. This professional tone has influenced how similar reports are handled in real time today. Researchers consider models of atmospheric conditions, radar refraction, and signal propagation to explore plausible explanations. These analyses illustrate how science tackles cases where perception meets technology in the skies. Key questions endure. What exactly were the objects? Where did they originate? And why did corroborating radar data occur? The case remains a catalyst for inquiry about unidentified phenomena in aviation history. The JAL 1628 episode endures as a reminder that airspace is a modern frontier where human perception and machine observation meet. It reinforced rigorous data collection, spurred dialogue across borders, and left a lasting impression on aviation safety, research, and the enduring mystery of the skies. In this documentary, we traced a moment when a routine flight became a cross-border inquiry into the unknown. With data and caution, authorities left the record intact, inviting future generations to weigh evidence, question certainty, And remember that some mysteries in the sky persist beyond the reach of final answers.